Hey guys, welcome to the MC Anime Podcast. We cover anime, geek culture, Japanese aesthetics, and Asian studies. We are a multi-fandom podcast, and you can expect to hear topics in your favorite hobby or fandom activity potentially. You can find MC Anime on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, please check out mcanimepodcast.com, our website. Furthermore, stay tuned in for another episode.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MC Anime. MC here, and Leslie's back with us today as a special guest. How you doing today, Leslie?
I'm doing all right. I know we had a little technical difficulties, but we managed to make this happen.
Yeah, surprisingly, audio and other channels of recording has been kind of interesting in that regard. But today's episode that you are a guest appearance on is the morality and ethics of anime. So when you think of morality or ethics, what do you think of?
When it comes to anime or just in general?
Just the ethics and morality.
In general, I guess there's always like ethical ways of like how to, do things to head quote unquote doing it the right way, and then morality is I would believe there's always a moral choice of like doing the right thing at the right time, Rather it's like you feel like you need to step in to help out a situation or just kind of like let a situation go, So it's a broad statement, I guess, to say, and it's very open to interpretation to different people.
True. And also with morality, that's typically the justification of the character of right and wrong. Well, ethics is like the process of the behavior associated with right and wrong as well. Like, you practice the morals to do the ethics, and the morality is like whether the behavior is justified as a moral decision or immoral. That's basically what that means.
Okay, you're Mr. Scientific over here, know all the big words, so I agree with you.
You know all the big words? What do you mean all the big words?
I don't know, you sounded so professional, like you're a teacher or something, like you know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Well, okay, when you do morality, it's the character's belief of what they do.
Okay.
And then you have ethics, which is the process of what you use morals to justify a justification of action.
Okay.
So, which I think is really interesting because anime plays onto those heartstrings a lot with morality, but you also get a lot of the ethics as well. You get the decision making of the what is right, what is wrong. Usually the main character shows you that, and usually the main character standing up for the people that are being oppressed, and they're usually in a central conflict.
Yes, you're right. I do see that in a lot of the animes that I watch, as the main character has to make a moral choice of usually like every episode of what to do,
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting seeing the dynamic of who is wrong, who is right, and also seeing who is in the middle. Because you can be wrong in the eyes of the main character, but be right in the eyes of others and yourself.
Yeah,
so that's where morality comes in.
Yeah, it's when you say something like that, I think it's a Dulan Goggin or whatever. I don't know if you ever seen that, but it's like the bad guy in the beginning part is actually being an asshole to prevent someone that's even more wicked to come find him, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you ever seen that anime, but it's really good.
Yeah, Never Guarding is interesting for that.
Yes. So, what animes are we? You want to really focus on for the morale choices that the characters make?
Well, the ones I want to focus on are The Kingdom of Johnny, Ghost in the Shell, Monster, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Those are the ones I had in mind. Those are the ones I put on the cover art.
Okay, so I have seen Ghost in the Shell a few times, and I've even seen the movie. So I know that anime probably the best. I'm not like an expert on it, but
Yeah.
we could start on that just to like try to talk.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So when you go into the morality and Ghost in the Shell, usually the morality that comes up is if of hacking. Is it ethical to do the hacking into someone's mind and hijack their mind? That's one issue that comes up.
That's what you want to get into. Ooh, that's you're opening up a can there. So I mean, if you're hacking into someone's mind and it prevents them from doing something evil, like let's say, I don't know, blow up a city block or do something like that, then it's like, it's right. But if you hack into somebody's mind and they're not doing anything wrong and you kind of like taking over them or whatever, like, that's, man, I don't even know, like, that's, sheesh. Why are you making me think? My brain hurts now already, and we're not even that far. But I mean, yeah, I know it's with a lot of hacking or whatever, but maybe the hacking is using to insert into a person's brain, taking over their mind and making them do bad things, even though they themselves are not that kind of a person that we're trying to get at.
Yeah. You basically... You take someone's free will, and you manipulate them to do your own doing.
Yeah, definitely do not want that to happen to me, so...
I mean, let's just bring up the example of, there's like a specific species of parasite that goes into the brains of ants and makes them basically sit up on a leaf and to basically procure population, they go into the brain and let them sit on the leaf.
And that's a real thing, or that from the...
That's a real thing.
Oh, wow.
The parasite actually invades the nervous system and the brain of the host and actually makes them do actions that not necessarily they do themselves.
Okay, wow. That must be some really small parasites if we're talking about ants. So.
Well, I mean, yeah. Okay, give me a fact. I know a lot of different things, so my logic seems to go from different sources and different resources.
No, you're telling me stuff I don't even know about, and I have been listening to your episodes. So yeah, you kind of know a little bit about a lot of things, which is neat. So what is it about hacking that would like worry you? Is it being like someone takes over your brain and makes you like do things you don't want to do?
It's not even that. Hacking and mindjacking are two different things. Hacking is the infringement of someone's property or privacy being on the intellectual web. That's what hacking is.
Yes.
Your intellectual property that belongs to you, that identifies who you are, like social security number, is being violated.
Or your IP address.
Yeah. So your consent is not there. They hack into it, whatever account, take whatever digital asset you have, or open up accounts that is digital asset, but in your name that can jeopardize you.
Okay, well, I'm not a fan of hacking at all, because, like, you go in there, you just basically ruin a person's life for whatever reason you want to ruin a person's life about.
Yeah.
I guess...
And also goes back into Ghost in the Shell. You know, they go into the people's minds, they do a deep dive, but a lot of times they had to do a deep dive to try to save whatever the conscience of the person being hacked into, which is the most risky part. At that point, the only way to save them is through the deep dive, trying to get rid of the hijacker in the mind while you hijacking their mind.
I mean, if you're going in there to, I guess it all comes down if they're going in there for a good reason to help this person out, then I don't think it's a bad thing. But like I said, I wouldn't want anyone going into hacking my mind, knowing things or whatever, because I think some weird things.
Yeah, and it also brings up the humanity's relationship with technology to the question of what is life anyway. Is it necessary to change for growing, or do you just stagnate and be part of the internet?
Yeah, that's something that's very that you can talk much about, especially with how things are today. So,
well, here's my question: the ethics. We talked about some morality. The ethics of Ghost in the Shell is you have society performing laws on androids and cybernetic life. So is it ethical for those laws to be in place, or is it still unethical by society's standards?
To repeat that again. So you're saying having laws in place against the androids to not infect the humans?
Yes.
I mean, it's actually quite ethical because, I mean, look, I'm not an expert on, any kind of robotics or electrical, digital cybersecurity, but it looks as androids are highly capable computers, basically, and can, decode, declassify any kind of information or whatever. And if they go into people's brains and they can just kind of just download all the information and then dissect it and then, show it to people that can read it, that can really just, like, they can control the human race by absolutely not even trying.
Yeah. You also bring up the practice of morals of where you draw the line of how much you infringe the mind and how much you actually keep intact. That's another thing you have to consider as well.
Yeah, that's true. It's
how much is technology just too much when the technology you're making is unethical to the point it's basically unethical in any society.
Sheesh. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's where's the line drawn? How far do you go? How far is too far, And
also, you had to assign accountability.
Yeah.
Is the company accountable for the loophole in the system? Or is the person who found the loophole liable?
Well, I mean, yeah, without really going into anything specific, let me ask you, how is it the person that found this loophole and, I guess you say, using it to their advantage if the situation calls for it? Yes, it's,
someone found a loophole in the system and started manipulating other people. Is the company liable, or is the person behind that found the loophole in the wrong?
Well, I mean, you can hold the company to a point, but the person using that loophole and manipulating people needs to be held the most accountable, I guess you would say. I mean, when you make something, not everything's going to be perfect. You're not going to iron out all the... I mean, you could go out and try your very best. It's like the company did everything they thought in their power to keep things safe, and someone found a loophole somewhere along the way. How are you going to fault the company that is actually actively making sure things are secure? You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. And what about the TOS? Usually when the company is liable for is what they put in TOS policy.
I'm not sure what a TOS policy is, so.
Table of contents. TOS is a table of contents.
Okay,
Basically, the table of contents contains the policies necessary for the customer to know what's in the product, what involves the product, and certain conditions to use the product in the realm of using the product.
Okay, I got you.
So as long as the companies use the TOS to their benefit, then they are not liable for anything in the ethic category, because society has made laws for the ethics to be followed in TOS and company announcements and all this other stuff.
That makes sense. So now you're talking about the other anime, something about Heroes in the Galaxy or whatever.
Yeah, Heroes of the Galactic Heroes.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of interesting with the Galactic Heroes, because they are fighting. The Legend of the Galactic Heroes is literally a civil war between two factions. He basically has to decide who's right and wrong.
So that basically the synopsis of what's of the main part of the anime right there.
Well, we have the two interstellar states: the Monarchic Galactic Empire and the Democratic Free Planets Alliance, embroiled a never-ending war.
Okay, so I can understand that from like a historical, events and stuff that happened. So, what are your questions about that?
Well, what side are you going to be on? The one that's a democratic, or one that's like an empire?
Well, I mean, without knowing the context, like, I don't know if the empire is doing anything wrong, per se. Like, if people are not being under a dictatorship and have freedom to kind of do what they need to do, and are able to make a living without having to give a lot of money back, I guess, to the government, then I would say they're in the wrong. But since I don't know the anime too well, I can't really say that. But then you also don't know if these freedom you said like the freedom faction, I guess they're like a democratic group. If they're going up against the empire, who is just not doing very good to people, keeping them like basically, under a dictatorship's thumb, like the king rule is law, then like them fighting for their basically their lives is not a bad thing, But like I said, me not knowing the anime, I really can't say who would be at fault,
Well, let's see. We have the Galactic faction is formed, political power moving away from the planet Earth, and the space era replacing the Gregorian calendar. And then we also have the Absolute Monarch, when named the Galactic Empire, starts the calendar again and then begins the Imperial count. Well, so basically, they're moving away from Earth. But the Dominion, the Free Planet Alliance, wants to basically stay on Earth as a means to be in power control. Because then we have the people that set up the Free Planets Alliance, a democratic republic, which uses a space era calendar founding their alliance. This is the first battle between the Empire. So, one wants to move away from Earth, one wants to keep everyone on Earth.
Oh, well, so the people, if they want to leave, that's their choice, So, I mean, I get the other group that's trying to keep everybody on Earth, how are you supposed to stop somebody from wanting to go somewhere,
Yeah. It states in the distant future, it's our own Milky Way galaxy. A portion of the galaxy is filled with terraformed worlds inhabited by interstellar traveling human beings. 150 years, two mighty space powers war with each other. The Galactic and Freelance Alliance. So the Galactic Empire is based on Prussia. Military genius is rising to power. Has a concubine later not only wants to end the corrupt dynasty, but also defeat the Free Planet Alliance and unify the whole galaxy under his rule.
Oh, so I mean, he wants to be. You said absolute monarch, so to me, an absolute monarch means that he just wants to be the one that makes all the rules. You know, so I would look at the other faction that is making sure that they're not being told what to do by one person. You know.
Okay. And then we have the Free Planets Alliance. We have a young wing, aspired to be a historian to military academy, technical, rightly promoted to Commodore because of his genuine excellence in military strategy. Though they highly respect one another, he is better known for his underdog victories and accomplishments in overcoming possible and mitigating collateral damages to the military observations. Let's see. Few wars between good and evil, most are good and other are good.
Okay, well, I wish I knew this anime.
Nobility, admirals, politicians, common soldiers, farmers into the story. From the main heroes to the unknown soldier fighting for his life in the battlefield.
Okay, well, I wish I knew more about the story that I can give a better answer, but I guess, like, when it comes to me, if you're asking me about how I feel, my morals is, like, people got to be able to do what they want. And they have to feel that they're able to go do that, you know? But when I say they should be able to go do what they want, it's got to be within a very good reason of, like, laws, you know? Like, people just can't go off and kill someone else because they want to, but I mean, say, like, if they want to move somewhere or feel like they just don't like the area that they're in or whatever, they can go, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because when we usually have the debate between the democratic and imperialism or an empire, you get kind of like weird gray area. Democratic is usually mostly the government is decided by the people. The empire is usually decided by a bloodline or an absolute monarchy.
Yeah, that's true when people look at it. Or when you say like imperial, it could just be like a ruling class. You know, like a group of people that are the elites, so to speak. They're the ones that have final say in everything because they're imperialistic, meaning that. Yeah, but when you talk about like imperial, you're thinking one person or that has absolute say in everything.
Yeah, you think of a collective that is corrupt. While in a republic, the collective is for the people. They're not as well. They can be corrupt. That's a given.
That's like another like something to talk about, you know.
So I think that a republic kind of forms a collective of people working for the people, so they'll have sometimes justification in the ethics of the people instead of themselves.
Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be my take on them.
Imperial, there is no ethics with them. It's just straight up selfish desires and putting your whims on the other people.
Yeah, when it comes to like an absolute monarch, it's like, do as I say, and if you don't, I'm just gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. All right. So that helps out. Now, what is the first one you said you wanted to try to look into? We got the Heroes of the Galactic.
Kino's Journey.
Is it Keynote? I don't know anything about that. Never even heard of that anime.
Well, Kino's Journey is an interesting story. It's usually for like World War II kind of thing.
Okay.
I think he's a travel. Yeah, he's a traveler, and a series follows the traveler named Kino and her talking motorcycle named Hermes. They explore countries with unique customs and people around a mysterious world, only spending 3 days at each location. So they're like a drifter in the community side. And I don't know, I guess it's like an inanimate object come to life that can have some sentience.
And you said, where's this supposed to take place? Like,
It's like World War II-ish kind of thing.
okay, so is it like taking place in that take on like Europe or whatever during the?
Yeah, it's taking place during Europe. That's where the setting is.
Okay.
Um,
And you said the
yeah,
time frame is around World War II era.
Yeah, it has that feeling.
Okay.
It's not exactly set in that era, but it's like taking reference from.
So basically, the first half of the 20th century in Europe. Okay, I got that.
You know, Penis is in the land of visible pain. There's the principle that it's probably a lie, noting if I stay any longer, I'm afraid I'll settle down. The reoccurring of the anime and novels. The world is not beautiful, therefore it is. You know, we have a radical sense of beauty and brutality, loneliness, nonsense, oppression, and tragedy, often against the compassion and the fairy tale atmosphere.
Okay, so what are your situations you want to talk about relating to this?
Yeah. Well, what's the morale of different people? When you travel to different places, you get a sense of different people's perspectives and how they do things.
That's true. Okay.
And when you do that, it's kind of interesting in how it plays onto the notion that when you travel around, how should you act?
Well, I mean, if you're traveling in a place you know nothing about or whatever, you don't know what kind of behaviors people take as disrespectful or aggressive or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just know if you go to certain places and say the wrong thing, it could get you in a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah. And we also have, life has to offer in the world are full of lies and despair. It's literally Kino's world, the beautiful world. Life is such a creation with various paths and stairways. It's how you spin your footsteps of the most wonderful life experience. So, let's dive into the morality of traveling a little bit.
Okay.
You want to live your life.
Yeah.
But you see all lies and despair. So you keep drifting to town, trying to find a good town. Where do you see you fit yourself in that category?
If I'm traveling from town to town?
Yeah, you're just traveling town to town, and you see something like greed. Someone being greedy. How you react?
Well, I mean, me personally, like, if it's none of my business, like, it's none of my business, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't do anything about it.
Yeah, true. With Kino's journey, the value of greed is kind of like debunked because you appreciate what you have, and you shouldn't really need more gratification unless you work towards a goal to get it. You shouldn't immediately take it. You should work for it.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, like I said, like, I don't know much about the anime since I've never watched it, but if you're going into the place and that's why, like, I wish I would know more about it. And greed, how is a person greedy if they work and they're making it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. True. And then we also have, like, it's kind of interesting because there's uncontrollable greed with citizens of a country charge expensive tolls for travelers to pass through the southern country. So let's say this. So you have a toll, you travel to another country. Do you think the country is justified to do an expensive toll? There's a lot of people going to that.
I mean, like a toll, like you have to pay money in order to enter the country?
Yeah, you're using their road, and let's say the toll on one country is $15, and the toll on the other side is $50. But you had to pay both in both countries. Do you think it's really greedy that you had to pay an amount that's like one-sided?
I mean, how do you combat? How do you like deal with that though? If you're making the choice to leave one country and into another, and you have to pay these tolls or tax or whatever, that's your choice. You know what I mean? If that's how the country is set up to do business or to do their way, I mean,
okay.
Is
the
it
justification lies in the country?
Is it right? You know, I doubt it. You know what I mean? I believe that, like, you know, yes, countries should have security or whatever, but I don't know if it's right that everyone that enters has to pay. You know, when you leave, are you paying? You know, it's like I said, there's just a lot. These questions are very complex in everything. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Another concept in Kino's journey is slavery.
Ooh.
They believe, to the extent that it's thought to justify slavery as a natural thing, when such individual was born to experience and realize the hardest challenges in life, were not totally incapable to think wiser to work on that extent.
Slavery, no.
Some theologians who thought that slavery was inventable, where these pre-existing laws did not fit to accept it as a natural phenomenon, strongly believe that people were entitled with justice and freedom to choose how they would live their life the way they wanted to be.
Slavery, I do not agree with in any kind of form, you know?
Yeah.
So that is definitely a bad moral to have if you believe slavery is okay. I mean...
Oh yeah, it's we already found out that society has viewed it as it's still happening.
Yeah, no, I
like,
mean, even in this world or whatever, slavery happens, and someone having complete control over someone else's life is just not good at all. I do not agree with that, and it should be outlawed or whatever. So yeah, The morality of slavery is it's bad in whatever form, and that's me talking. Any kind of form you have, slavery is horrible.
Absolutely. And that's how they it's portrayed in Kino's journey. They go about it and have people say that it's justified, but like it's not at all. So you see the Kino's perspective and how he's traveling around, and these different people have different views about different things, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Corruption.
I mean, corruption happens. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's
economical, it's social, cultural, political aspects. The term is, however, very explained. Bribery, the topicism, colonialism is rarely filled with illegality, as is technically the abuse of one's power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, slavery is horrible and you shouldn't do it at all. I'm not for that at all. And corruption, I just believe it's just the human nature of if you want to make something happen, you will do slimy things to make it happen. So corruption is just always going to be around in one form or another.
And also with Kino's journey, one specific example of corruption was the historic country. A big clock tower stood up in the center of the trademark of the existence. The master, the apprentice, was accused of selling prohibited drugs and put in prison. the loots were confiscated, the young master eventually discovered the cops in the country were involved in corruption. She planned to help the convinced get out, but help the whole nation be free from the big corruption. Both planned a cause. They both planned to cause a shooting and then terrorize the whole country, but no one had been killed because of the sake of justice.
All right.
So you fighting corruption with taking innocent lives.
Yeah, I mean, corruption could take innocent lives, just how it is, you know?
Well, yeah, but like, for people to think that they have to go to the extreme to do whatever a mass outcry of like public violence just to send a message doesn't really benefit anyone in the long run, really.
You know, people are ruled with their feelings and stuff. That's just how it's human beings. Some people are fueled by emotions, others are fueled by, you know, the life that they have going on, sort of thing. It's human beings are a very weird thing to understand because usually not one person agrees absolutely 100% with the next person.
Oh yeah, I mean, we take the clock tower fiasco. We have the cops being corrupted. They accuse someone else of building the jail. The master and the apprentice, as a retaliation of going to jail and being, because in the corrupt country, they plan a mass shooting. Both are not right, and one doesn't justify the other. Just because one treats you bad doesn't mean that the other should be a similar result.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, it goes to show you that not everyone can have revenge, you know. Yes, you can have the freedom of corruption, not have it, but you still gotta see where it ends. The world is not beautiful, therefore it is. Basically what that means, the world is full of different things that you have to accept for reality. So that's what Kino's journey really reflects on.
Sounds interesting. I might have to try to actually watch this one. So.
Yeah. So what do you think of the world is not beautiful, therefore it is?
I mean, to me the world is beautiful, but there's also a lot of negative stuff that's in it, though.
True.
That's the way I
so
look
the
at
other
it.
and the bad all mixed together with the good. You just have to find that balance.
Yeah, I mean, I guess how you supposed to have good without the bad. Now you're supposed to have bad or without the good. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it'll just be all good or all bad.
That also brings up utopia and a dystopia.
Yeah.
No, there is no utopia because there's always going to be bad. That always was going to coexist.
Yeah.
So you can have the belief of being good, but someone always is going to mess it up. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's interesting to see how the dilemma plays with humanity and how the morals and ethics play a role into the grander scheme.
That is why it's probably such a topic that can be debated and debated and debated without actually having no real answer. You know?
Yeah. True.
I mean, just look at the political stuff that's going on in almost every country that has a democracy.
Yep.
Whether it's England, USA, Canada, France, Israel, you know, even in Mexico. I mean, it's just everything that's going on is crazy.
Yeah. One last thing to explore with the the morality and ethics of anime, Monster.
Monster.
So, yeah. So Monster is an interesting anime. It's like a psychological thriller that takes you on a journey of basically who's the monster and who is deemed worthy of it.
I'm assuming that, like, maybe somebody created the monster, and maybe he's just as bad as this creature that's just bred to be destroying. But I could, like I said, I could be wrong. I don't know anything about this, so.
Kenzo Tema is a young Japanese brain surgeon working at the hospital. He's dissatisfied with the political bias of the hospital and treating patients and seizures the opportunity to change things as a massacre brings feudal twins. John and Anna. Johanna has the gunshot, and Anna moans about killing. Operates instead of the mayor, who arrived later. Say, but mayor dies. This is social standing. The other doctors are mysteriously murdered, and both children disappear from the hospital. The police suspect Timma. They have no evidence. And then he's the chief of surgery. After saving a criminal named Junkers mutters about a monster, and then he finds him gone. So we basically find Monster as something keeps bad happening to people. Junkers is gone.
Okay.
So the idea of Monster is someone in the shadows, but Tenna is always being suspected of it. But he's trying to figure out what the heck is happening.
I mean, maybe he is the monster, quote unquote, you know? If bad things keep happening around him, maybe he's the one to blame.
Okay, how do you excuse someone that to be blamed if they're trying to figure out who it is?
Well, I mean, you ever noticed, I've listened to true crimes and stuff when it comes to, like, serial killers and stuff like that. They're the ones that are doing all this, but then they insert themselves into helping find out who the person is.
Oh, okay.
So the moral is, or their ethics is, like, they don't think that they're doing anything wrong, and so, you know, hence them trying to help whatever, I guess, is them, it's them covering their own tracks, but they're looking like they're very, a moral person, you know, even though they're the ones being evil.
Oh, yeah. You know.
So morally, they can, I was going to say, so morally, they are looking very, like they have good morals, even though they're the ones that are, quote unquote, the monster in the story.
Yeah. Okay. You know, let's see. Let's see. True work of art is a bit old. The entire setting is centered around Germany and old Czechoslovakia. The orchestra style reflects the reality and is quite detailed. The real-world history, amazingly accurate. Forward twist and turn. Let's see. We also have a lot of character development. Side character. The mystery and tension exists in the last. Very dark in realism.
Okay, what are we talking about here?
Okay, so we have different things. So let's handle the morality of a surgeon. He had a tough choice between the twins or the mayor. He decided to do the twins instead of the mayor, and he lost social standing.
Ah.
Does that really justify that he lost social standing by being the surgeon that chose the twin instead of the mayor?
No, the twins are like kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to help the kids, you know? Like, you gotta make a choice like that. Like, the mayor probably, you know, kind of lived a life a little bit or whatever, but kids haven't, you know? So, I mean, I don't know if there is anything, there's no right or wrong here. Either way, it's just a horrible situation to be in, but, I mean, I'm just saying this, but I'm not in that situation. I would choose the kids because I feel like kids deserve to have a chance to have some kind of life or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't think there is anything right or wrong in this. It's whatever choice you make, you're going to get backlash from somebody somewhere because it's just a very crappy situation.
Oh yeah. Well, even in this situation, the main premise of Monsters, all lives are equal, regardless of who they are.
Yeah.
But in a medical field, in an emergency setting, deciding who gets the help and one who doesn't is interesting. Because not everyone can be saved, but not everyone can get the same treatment as the other person either.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you're saying, like something bad happens and people are hurt. There's only so many, and maybe there's only so many places the doctor can go deal with. He can only deal with one person at a time. So he makes a choice and he has to do his best to get that person stable and then move on to the next person.
Yeah.
So like I said, he's in a really bad situation there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let's say, like, the mayor was a very corrupt and just a very bad person or whatever. You know, I might skip over him and give kids that haven't done anything wrong a good chance. You know what I mean? But, like I said, you said it's not like that. But, I mean, if a situation like that is, you know, I can see the character just like, oh, the mayor's a bad person. He done this, and this, and led to people's death, and doing all, you know what, I'm going to help these kids out. If I can get to him, I'll get to him.
True. And also you have a psychopathic serial killer and a criminal organization. That's also taking place in Monsters as well.
Sheesh.
So all these people that keep dying around him, the doctor, are from the organization and the psychopathic killer.
Now,
and Monsters is the psychopathic killer.
Okay.
So it kind of explores, should you use a third person to get involved in your dirty work?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Hey, you shouldn't use anyone to do your own dirty work. If you're going to do something, you should be man enough to do it yourself. But that's just me, personally.
True. So let's say someone else is... Okay. You want to get a sting operation, so you use this person as for intel.
Yeah.
But you know, for you to get that intel, they're probably going to get killed. They give it to you anyway, and then you don't see them again. Is it moral to not think of that their life is meant something for that, or is the life in vain?
I mean, like, if this person is doing something to help you with the sting operation or whatever, they're thinking that you're gonna sit there and do what you can to make sure that they come back alive. So that's slimy to do. So no, that's not right, because they're doing something like that. They're expecting you to have their back when they need you. You know, the cavalry comes in and whatever.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong. That's just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, here we go. We have Tina. He chooses between keeping his hands clean but letting a child die or shooting a man he's been gunning for 64 episodes to save a child. Will you choose? You save the child, or you have the guy that you have been so long trying to go after?
Why is he going after the guy? Let me ask that, if you can answer that question.
He's going after the guy because he's the one that's been mysteriously killing and him being suspected of the crimes.
Oh, so if this person that he kills saved a child and brings justice or something for other people, yeah, kill the dude. You know what I mean? But
Well, the child that you saved in the hospital over the mayor is worth more than the guy who's been in conspiracy against you.
okay, repeat that because I only got a little gist of it of going back with the mayor.
This is the child that Emma saved over the mayor. You always save his life once. Do you save his life again and let him suffer and get the person in the process while that child may die? You already saved a life once.
I mean, I guess. I guess.
Yeah. So basically, the person in that situation you've been after so long, you would give up someone else to achieve your goals.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to put anyone else's risk or life to risk if this is something personal I'm trying to deal with. You know?
Okay. Okay, so you, in a personal vendetta, you're going to use everything in your capability against them, not get other people involved.
Yeah, I mean it's your choice to go after this person or whatever. You know, it's not like he's a known criminal that everyone in the world is trying to go after. You know, so I mean, this is your personal shit. You need to deal with it without getting other people involved and hurt in the process.
True. Well, you also have the fixation category as well. You're so fixated, you get to the point that doesn't matter who gets in the way, you achieve your end goal no matter what.
Yeah, people are like that, and that's that happens quite a bit. I'm assuming, like you just don't care what you do or who's in your way, who gets hurt, whatever, as long at the end you get what you need done or what you want done.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, but I mean, it does happen a lot, especially in like when we talk about in animes or movies or in real life, you know?
True. And there's an anime that challenges your morality, that makes you question what you think, what you do every day.
An anime that makes me question what I do every day?
Or maybe it gives you an entirely new perspective about what you did before.
Honestly, I can't think of any, but it probably is like some that do make me kind of think like differently of situations when I've seen it, play out in a whole course of a whole series. I just can't come up with something like right off the, cusp there. I mean, maybe Fist of the North Star, because, the whole story with that is the main character, Kenshiro, goes after his brother, and his brother is doing all these bad things, killing people, going after his brother's wife and everything, but the brother was doing all this because he felt like he was the strongest to go prevent an invasion from another continent, or there was a big evil army that was coming to conquer his whole land, and he felt like he was the only one that was capable of defending and saving his nation from an outside force. And he didn't let, and like what you said, he didn't let anything stand in his way. He killed his own brothers. He killed his own basically father, just to achieve what he wanted to achieve. He wanted to get that power, and he did that no matter who was gonna get hurt or whatever. But then he was doing evil things, but he thought of himself as the good guy because he was doing this because he knew of something else that was gonna happen, I guess.
Okay. So basically the premise is like, well, if I think it's good gonna come out of it, yeah, I'm justified to do bad things. It's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, which does not make any sense, you know?
Yeah, because it's a contradicting statement to say you want to be doing these bad things, but eventually they have the positive role. I mean, yes, war is a little bit different because if you're fighting for a belief or fighting for old times to be not changed, then that's totally different. But like in actual reality, when you're justifying, I don't know. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
you're lying for the sake of someone else, and you keep lying for the sake of someone else, but you think it's positive that you're not telling them the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I believe I've been in situations like that in myself because, you know, nobody wants to listen to what you have to say, so you have to kind of, you know, do things that, you know, aren't the best, aren't right, in order to actually just be heard or, you know, for things to kind of happen, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the situation is, like, just, let's say, I'm hypothetically speaking here, a person that, like, a coworker or whatever is claiming that they did all this work that they had nothing to do with and saying that it's theirs. But since they know how to talk to people and make it all about them and tell a good story, you know, they have people being convinced. And then it's looking at you speaking up, being like, "No, they didn't." You have to like get into basically you have to get into like a fight to where it's so big that, you know, people that are like your supervisor will have to get involved and they have to figure out what happened. You know what I mean? You have to bring it to the level to where they just can't people can't sit on the sideline anymore. They have to do something.
Okay. True. I agree with that statement. You know, you can't. Ignorance is not bliss. You have to do something at some point, regardless if you're found guilty or not. You're gonna have to step up. If you don't, you can be accessory to the crime itself.
Yeah,
you saw it happen and you let it happen.
Yes, that is what I'm getting at. Is you have? I feel like that happens. With things going on today, nobody wants to do anything or whatever. So you have to make it happen. You have to go. You have to make this so like annoying, so visible that there's nothing more that they have to do something about the situation. Otherwise, it's just gonna get worse. You're basically forcing their hand.
True.
And I don't believe it's. What I was gonna say is I don't ethically. I don't believe it's the best thing to do. But if you basically tried every resource you had in your sphere that you can do, and that's all you have left, you have to do it because otherwise, no, you know, it's gonna get to the point where, like you said, a crime's gonna happen or something happens, and it's gonna be worse than, you know, if they did something to prevent it way before, you know, in the timeline of things.
Okay. This is making me think of a situation. Former Brotherhood. You have Eldrick and the other sibling, and they want to bring their mom back.
Okay.
And what is it ethical? That, or is the morality more devastating than they originally think?
We're talking about the Alchemy Brothers.
Yes. The implications of the taboo subject of human resurrection.
Yeah, because I think the whole thing of
you resurrect from death to life, and you use the equivalent.
please don't tell me I lost you. Come on.
civic. So, do you believe that they're losing an arm, losing your body, is justified in that taboo practice?
I mean, if that's what they believe, I mean, I don't think it's right, but like you said, like people will go to the extreme lengths to do things. So to them, it's not wrong, but maybe how the society takes it, it is wrong. So I don't agree that they should have done it, but like I said, people go to extreme lengths to do a lot of things.
Replicate by the seven deadly sins.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's 1,000 souls worth one person living forever.
No, because I mean, what about those 1,000 people?
Yeah. So the 1,000 souls that went to that one person basically is non-measurable in ethics or morality. It's just wicked.
Yeah.
It's insane. Insanity to the extreme. Like, where do we draw the line between sanity and morality? Like, when do we become balanced enough to recognize the difference?
I think that is a question that will never be answered, but will be talked about until the end of time.
Like, the way I see it, you have the morals, you have the ethics to do better, but once you get to that insanity,
you're making my brain hurt right now. Too much thinking. It's the weekend. Come on.
Well, what do you expect in the morality and ethics discussion in anime?
I don't like talking a lot. Making me think too. I can't think and talk at the same time.
Why does your brain hurt? Because you're Patrick Star?
Because you're making me think about situations and actually think about it and like, what would I do in this situation?
I mean, true. You weren't really expected with this.
No, I did not expect it to go in such a.
Go in depth about this topic.
This is like more of a philosophical discussion with anime drizzled in, So, not what I was expecting. But you know what? That's cool though. I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with this.
So, do you have any concluding statements about the morality and ethics that you need to take in consideration in life and also anime itself?
I mean, you can take people can take what they want from this, but do what you feel like you think is right. Whether it's right or wrong or whatever, if you feel like it's the right thing to do, then I guess do it if it feels right to you.
Okay.
What about you? We're connecting again.
As an opportunity to be able to converse and talk about what we talked about.
MC.
Don't be afraid.
MC, I lost you there.
Don't be afraid to see what's right and what's wrong, and take it with a grain of salt what life has to offer, and what life has to signify for the morality and ethics practices that you need to do every day.
Okay, I think I lost you there a little bit, but the gist of it, I heard. I apologize.
Statement of morality, the practice in which your behavior is just or unjust, and then ethics, using morals and values as a catalyst to measure behavior.
thank you, MC, for having me on this great episode. You made me use my brain to think a lot in what we were discussing today. You can always find me on any social media at Madewell Art Photography. And hopefully I get some new fans and listen to more episodes that MC Anime makes. He is really great at what he does. And thank you again.
Well, there you hear it. Leslie Madewell himself talking about his experience on this particular episode of MC Anime, discussing the morality and ethics of anime. I thank you so much for your time and how you were a very big part of the discussion and how we conducted this particular episode. With that stating, this concludes this episode of MC Anime. You can find us on where you find podcasts near you: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. You can also follow us on mcanimepodcast.com, where you see new updates and latest episodes in live time. If you are a website type of person, Patreon for the MC animators out there. Be part of our group and continue to support us through whatever means necessary that you want to watch podcasts near you. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy your day.
This concludes another episode of MC Anime Podcast. MC Anime Podcast is available on podcast directories like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. We also have our website at mcanimepodcast.com. If you want to directly support us, then follow Patreon blog MC Anime. Finally, if you want services for hire, then we're available on Fiverr for audio and video production, graphic design, idea consulting, and blog and article writing.